Alright, we got our order in yesterday from Glowshift. We ordered the diesel set for the Cummins diesel that we got. There's your box code that came with it. I ordered the extra wire for the gauge wiring kit, the transmission port extender, and the boost adapter. And I ordered the taupe color gauge kit. That's not taupe. That, my friend, is black. Paid extra. What can you say? Everybody has people working for them at, I don't know, it is what it is. Anyway, I called Glowshift. I was really pissed last night because I wanted to install this. So, stewed over it all night. I got to get this done. We're heading out to Bike Week tonight, tomorrow morning actually, and I got to get this in the truck. Anyway, long story short, they just credited my account. I'm happy. It's not what I wanted, but hey, you know what? Life's too short to worry about it. Anyway, we're going to go out there and install this in the truck and show you how we did it. Alright, there's the truck. There's the Mustang. Mustang's got the Glowshift gauges in it also. So, we haven't done nothing other than we undid the 2 bolts out of there, and what the heck was it? That was a 10 millimeter. Pop them 2 bolts out. This thing just pulls right out. Careful not to scratch your tint. Okay, that's going in the attic, and then basically I believe you reuse this hole right here, and the gauge pod just mounts there. So that's going to be a pretty straightforward setup, and I believe this comes off to get in there, and I'm going to do a little bit of fooling around here and get this thing wired up. Alright, to get this side panel off and sticking a screwdriver in there and just kind of pulling back on these clips. It took me about 5 minutes to figure it out because I don't want to break nothing, but if you get right under the clip and give it a little bit of force, there you go. Off like Flynn. That's where we're going to run the wires to and hide everything, and hey, you know, it's a Dodge. It rusts. What else is new? Alright, back to work. Make sure you get your 1/2-inch wrench out and undo your negative side terminals on your battery. Take off your battery. Get your 1/2-inch wrench out, undo your battery terminals, get the negative side off, tuck it out of the way. Make sure you do both batteries. Don't want to short anything out and make a mess. So I got both negative battery terminals off before we do the gauge install. Under the truck at the transmission, you have 1 bolt there, 1 bolt in the middle, 1 bolt in the front. Glowshift is telling me that the middle bolt, the 1/2-inch, is the one we need to take out. So we got Mr. Snap-on down here with a 1/2-inch socket. Is that a 1/2-inch? No, I'm lying to you. It's a 7/16. See that? I'm already giving you guys bad information. Hey, I'm sorry. I only had 2 cups of coffee today. I was up late last night. Probably going to have fluid come out all over me right here because that's the way my day goes. And we don't. There we go. Middle bolt is out. That's what it looks like. That's where the temperature sensor is going to go back into. So this is what they sent us. Here's your sensing. This is going to go in place so where that came out of. That's going to adapt that to fit into that. And Teflon tape the snot out of everything. I'm going to Teflon tape this and then put it in. Teflon tape them 2. We have a 5/8 wrench and a 9/16 wrench. So get your shopping list out and put them on your tools. You got to pull out a toolbox to save you the time that I have to go hunting for all this stuff. Right. Teflon tape that. Just tighten those 2 up. Nice and snug. That looks pretty good to me. Just turns of tape on this one. Put that in there. That's the part that's going to go into the tranny. I gotta find out what size that is. Alright, 3/4 and 5/8. Just tighten those two bad boys up. Easier said than done. 1 cup of coffee just doesn't cut it in the morning. I'm gonna have to take a break and go get some more coffee. Alright. That's your temperature sensor, your transmission adapter. Tape that, put it back in the tranny. Back under the truck. Put this in the port. If I can get under here. There's a word that I just created for putting this thing in, and I am going to create a word now for trying to tightening this thing. It was not fun. You know what I need? I need a stubby wrench. I'm going to have to go get me a stubby wrench. Or I could just sit here for the next 10 hours and doing 2 turns at a time. That's my new 4.5-inch exhaust, 4-inch exhaust I just put on the truck. So it now sounds like an Apache attack helicopter in the morning. Haven't quite figured out if I'm going to leave it or if I'm going to put a muffler on it. So I'm going to tighten this up and I'll get right back to you. Here's your boost gauge. It's a little different than what they show on their video online on how to hook it up. They're sending you a different connection. They're showing T-barbs and stuff on the internet. This is I like this actually better than the T-barb. This is the part that goes into your intake manifold, and then this piece is going to thread into there. Teflon tape that, and then you have this compression fitting. So what you're going to do is take this, put that in first. The cone is going to go on, the compression cone, and you're going to make sure that the cone is going to sit inside there. So this is pretty much the way it's going to be. That's going to go inside that. This is going to come up. Don't do this now, this will make a mess, but as you tighten this down, what's going to happen is, where'd it go? Tighten. This is going to crush in 3 places. It's going to crush against this up here. It's going to crush around this to prevent this from sliding out. And it's also going to be stopped from pulling out. So it's kind of a neat little system. It's like plumbing. And that's going to hold everything all nice. So the only problem I see with this system is this hose getting hot one day or getting brittle. I'm going to have to try it. I've had a couple of high pressure oil gauges in the past that were mechanical that ran this system, and the line eventually got brittle and broke, and they had 100 pounds of oil out. So like I was saying, it's a really nice setup. The only downside is we'll see how long this lasts. With the boost, I don't see it having the same problem as when I blew the line in the Mustang and the 100-pound oil pressure sprayed all over the other hood of the car. Made a mess. So we're going to run this and see how this works out. Just Teflon tape that up. Twist that on there. Get it snug. Oh, gotta go to the toolbox and get another size. 11/16 on the adapter, boost adapter, and 7/16 on the brass coupling. There's that. Like I said, once we get all that done, this will go on top of it and hold the gauge wire. So we're going to go ahead and put this into the truck right now. A question why just entered my head. This is a 10 millimeter. A very, very tight 10 millimeter. So this is the one that they told us to take out on the Glowshift video. It's probably in there at about 45 pounds torque. It was in there pretty good. Okay. Ah, red Loctite. Nice. That's why. It's definitely aluminum, this piece right here, if not pot metal, one of the two. It's really cheap. Okay. Like they said, 10 foot-pounds. That's about it right there. No more than that. So this falls into the ultimate and fun category. First thing you want to do is don't drop nothing. Put that on, put your ferrule in. Okay. Push that down as far as it'll go. Ferrule there. And with everything all pushed down, hand tighten it. And you're going to crush that ferrule around that hose. Just like that. Keeping pressure on that hose so it doesn't pop out of there. And I think that's probably pretty good. Alright, that's that side done. Well, this is probably overkill, but that's who I am. I got some of this wire loom stuff here. I keep it by the case because we use it on all kinds of stuff. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to enclose this tube. I'm going to bring it back to zip tying onto this. And actually, you know what? This stuff is so cheap. I'm going to take it all the way to the back of the firewall. And I can just zip tie that right off with everything. I'm not worried about getting this kinked or damaged. Yeah, see how that's going to turn out? Splice it right there. On the exhaust gas temperature probe, I just got it laying down there. Basically, I don't want to tap into here because this is only going to read the exhaust gas temperatures of these two cylinders back here. I'm going to go down here more and tap into it where they all come in collectively. I'm not going to do that because it's kind of like above my ability right now of, you know, drilling and tapping because I don't have that stuff here. So I'm going to take it up to my buddy's speed shop And he said for 20 bucks he'll drill and tap that for me and put the probe in. But I got this ran up here all the way to the other side. I've got the boost mounted, runs up here, and they come over to this side. So going through the firewall, we have the EGT probe and we have the boost hose. I drilled a 7/16 hole right there, and luckily I did, because you have to fit those fittings through. So coming down through underneath here, I have my exhaust gas temperature probe, and then I have my hose for my boost gauge, and the only other thing I have to run through that hose is, or that hole is, my temperature for my tranny, which is one 18 gauge wire, and then I'm going to feed all that through the wire loom and shove the wire loom around in there, and that'll be a nice hole where nothing's going to get caught or tore up. Alright, we got to put these little fittings right here on the back side of these gauges. Tighten them down, and that'll allow this to hold the gauge in the pod. And now we're at the moment of truth. We've got the gauges in, starting to wire them. And the one thing they fail to leave out on the website that I'm going to bring attention to is these little crossed in gauge holders that look like this. And that's what holds the gauge in. That slides over the back two bolts right there. And then you tighten them up with those little bitty nuts. That little fun process took about 25 to 30 minutes. Reason being is you gotta push, twist, pull, fight to get the nut on the first threads, and then you gotta turn the wrench this way, and oh yeah, they leave that off. They make it look like it's a 15-minute job. And then when you get it all done, the gauges aren't straight, you gotta take everything off, do this, do that. So it's absolutely imperative that when you do it the first time, have all your gauges lined up the way you want them lined up. That's all I got to tell you. That's my hint for the day. That's my advice. Now, after we've done this, we're going to take all the yellow wires and we're going to put all the yellow wires together, and then we're going to put all the red wires together. So that's where we're at now. Got it all wired up. All the yellows went together, all the reds go together, and all the blacks went together. Zip tied it up here to keep it clean. This green goes to the temperature sending port for the transmission temp. The pink and blue go to the exhaust gas temperature probe. And then the boost gauge is going to get put on there right there. So that's going to be next.